Jim Kaler, thank you for joining me. Firstly, tell me about your current position.
Yes, I'm the Executive Director of the AECOM, Center for Sports Administration at Ohio University. Now that's a long title, but in that role I am really an external agent for our department in sports administration and try to serve as a liaison between academia and the industry, where I recruit consulting projects, research projects, but also work on the placement of students in jobs. My area, particularly on the student placement, is working with our graduate students. I have a counterpart, Annie Brackley, who pretty much does the same thing with the undergrad students.
What are some of the past positions that you've had?
Yes, I've been around sport my whole life. So I was a student athlete in high school and college. I was a swimmer. And then when I was a senior at Xavier University, I found out you could get a master's degree in sports administration. So this is going way back to 1980. And at that time, Ohio University was the first school to offer that program. That program is now, as a program, is 50 years old. We just finished our 50th anniversary. And I thought, well, wow. I knew I was going to end up somewhere in marketing, but if I could work in sales or marketing around the sport or the entertainment industry, that would be the ticket. So from there, I was fortunate enough to get into the program. And I had worked with the Cincinnati Reds on an internship between my junior and senior year at Xavier University. That's where I did my undergrad. And fortunate enough to get into that program, and it really changed my life. I mean, 21 years in the industry, probably the most significant were the last 10 and a half, where I went back home to Cleveland, Ohio, and I became the Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing with the Cleveland Cavaliers in the arena they play in, which at the time was Gund Arena. Today it's Quicken Loans Arena.
What were you like as a student coming out of college?
I was a little bit north of a 3-point. I think I graduated with 3.1. I wasn't the most studious student, most serious student, but I had a good balance. I had a good balance of decent grades. I was a captain of the swim team, and I also got involved. Xavier was a small enough school where I got involved with a lot of activities, and I was the senior class president my senior year. Now don't get too excited about that, but my role was basically helping the class raise money for a graduation celebration at the end of the year. So putting on parties and promoting events.
What kind of professional development did you look to improve early in your career?
I was always surrounded by good mentors, and that's the exciting thing about the program at Ohio University. The alumni network is very loyal. So the very first person that I worked for in the industry was a graduate of Ohio, and he was about 4 years ahead of me. So he kind of took me under his wing, and I would say the thing that probably improved the most in those early days, those first 5 years, were my writing skills, and I think this is true for most college students. Going from the term paper writing that we're all used to writing in a short, concise manner. And John Tafaro was this gentleman's name, and he really, I think, helped polish up my written communication skills and then my presentation skills. You're young and you're new, and you're going out and asking corporations for sponsorship dollars, and it takes a while to develop that skill. It doesn't happen overnight, but he was a great mentor and really worked with me both on my verbal and written communication skills.
What were some of the practical implications of your presentation style that you needed to improve on?
Oh, I think it's a little bit in knowing that if you're selling a sponsorship, it's not just about selling the assets that your property holds, but it's finding that winning combination. Really, anyone that's selling sponsorships, you're really a solutions provider. So if I want you to sponsor my tennis tournament, I've got to make sure that I'm not just taking your dollars and putting your logo up and that's all. Like, okay, what are your objectives in getting involved in sport marketing, and what else can we do? Because in the early days of sponsorship, it was pretty much a templated. You get, 4 signs up and 4 seats at center court and all of that good stuff. But today, it's like, okay, what can we do with our event that can help your brand? And one of the things I learned over time was to ask a prospective sponsor one question. So if I'm trying to sell you a sponsorship and I say, hey, what if you own the tournament and you own the brand? What would you do to create a meaningful partnership where it's a win-win situation? So it's got to be good for both sides, but now you have total control. So what might the sponsorship look like if you owned the tournament and the brand?
How do you continue to remain at the top of your game?
I think I'm a lifelong student, and maybe it's just the industry that I'm in, but I'm always fascinated by new ideas, new promotions, new technology. And one of the ways that I stay active in the industry is the research that I do on sponsorship. And I will do a study every 2 to 3 years where we go out and talk to 50 of the top sponsors in North America. Now, these are individuals that I used to sell sponsorships to, individuals at companies like Budweiser and Coca-Cola and Pepsi. But now I'm in a different situation in academia, so I can ask them for their insights on what it is that we need to do as an industry to get better. The great part of the study is that they're provided anonymity, so I'm not going to say that John Doe from Coca-Cola had this to say. I'll list Coca-Cola in the front of the study, and their responses will be mixed in, so no one will be able to tell who said what, but the insights that are gained there, I think, if I would have had them back in the day when I was selling sponsorships for the Cavaliers, we would have been much more successful.
There are a lot of eager and keen students out there, but how quickly can students expect to achieve a top-level position given the competitiveness for jobs in sport?
That's a great question. I think that one of the things that we tell our students is that it's a marathon and not a sprint. So at the starting line of any marathon, there could be thousands of participants, and that if you train well and you work hard, at the 10-mile mark, the race will start to thin out. And I think sport has a parallel there, because if you can get solid training and solid work experience in the first 10 years of your career and grow, then you're set. You're going to be recruited for a higher level position. But there's also a lot of burnout in sport, and people will go into it and it wasn't quite what they expected, or they didn't have the right skill sets to apply. And all too often, people are interested in working in the industry because they're passionate sports fans. I get that. And we want our students to be passionate sports fans, but it's not like I'll just take any job to be around the team. No, teams and properties need individuals that have specific skills. So the quicker a student can identify what they're good at and then build on those skills, you're going to round those skills out. But if you come to me at the Cavaliers and you say, hey, I just want any old job just to be a part of it, you're probably going to scare me off. Now, if you come to the Cavaliers and say, I'm really strong in your case, I love what you're doing with the website, but video production and writing and communications, then I see what you're bringing to the table and how you might help my organization. Not that you're passionate and you want to hang out at games and go see LeBron play. I mean, when we see the super fan coming through the door, we get nervous and hurry.
When you're interviewing students, what do you look for?
Communication skills, energy, likability. Can someone look you in the eye, and is this someone that you could see just being successful? I think there's a lot of studies out there that you make your first impression on somebody within like the first 55 seconds, and the book is out there too, Blink. So I think how someone commands the presence of a room when he or she walks into it, and really how conversant they can be in an interview. A good interview isn't just how you answer the questions, but can you turn it into a conversation? If you're telling me what your strengths are, but you can give me some anecdotes to give me examples. I mean, a lot of times people will tell you their strengths, but they won't give you any examples. One of my favorite examples would be my son Jimmy, and I know he's done this in his interview, so I don't mind sharing it, but it's a lot of times you hear people say they have a tremendous work ethic, right? I work hard. And I'll say, what's your Jimmy Kaler story? And they'll look at me like, my son Jimmy was 5 years old. and his older brother, Peter, was 10, but Peter got the neighborhood paper out, and he just delivered the paper once a week. And I think Jimmy was looking up to his brother like, I got to get a job. So one day, we got a call from the neighbor and said, hey, I just want to let you know, Jimmy's over here in our backyard picking up sticks. He's 5 years old. We got a friendly neighborhood, but we hadn't seen him for 20 minutes. Like, hey, where'd Jimmy go? So the neighbor calls and said, he's in the backyard picking up sticks. I said, why is he picking up sticks? Well, in our neighborhood, a lot of wooded trees. So after a big storm, some of the branches would come down. And I said, all right, boys, we're going to go in the backyard and pick up sticks. So we had been doing that earlier in the day. And he went over to the neighbors and said, hey, can I pick up your sticks? And the neighbor said, no, Jimmy, why do you want to do that? Because I want a job like my brother. So just having him say that in a job interview is so much more conversant than, yeah, I have a tremendous work ethic. You got to be able to back it up.
People will say don't work in sports if you're in it for the money, but is the level of job satisfaction worth it?
I believe so, but it worked out. And like the analogy with the marathon, the first 10 years in the industry, you're not going to make a ton of money. But in my case, I graduated in 1981 and was making peanuts in that first job. 10 years later, I was a senior vice president of an NBA team in my hometown, making more money than I thought I was entitled to. So I think as long as you can keep making upward progression, the money will come. But the level of job satisfaction, if you can do both, is, in my mind, it's second to none.
Yep, terrific.
Cool.
Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir.
Cheers.
That was fun.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to exchange emails and let me see
absolutely.
how it's coming, and
Yep.
I'll walk back.